Hey guys, Mike from my private library. A couple days ago, or maybe it was last week, I did a video detailing everything I picked up from the bookstore recently, but it kind of wasn't coming out well. You couldn't really hear me. For some reason, my audio and visuals were out of sync, which I still think is somewhat of a problem, and I can't figure out why, which is bugging me. But for now, last minute, I'll do it. So yeah, I went to Barnes& and Noble with all the last of my gift cards that I got for Christmas. I picked up one at Target, and I checked out my local secondhand bookshop. We have two in my town, and there's one I hadn't been to before, so I finally gave it a shot, and I found a couple things there. Yeah, just gonna give you a quick little rundown of everything I picked up recently. So first up, Yes Please by Amy Poehler. This one I got at Target, as you can kind of see. It was 20% off there, which is the same price I would have gotten in Barnes & Noble with membership discounts. So I figured it's worth grabbing. I've been wanting to read this for a while. I do love Amy Poehler. And I was lucky enough. All the copies that I saw at Target were kind of banged up. Dust covers were all torn and stuff. So I was digging through the back, trying to find a good copy, and I actually stumbled upon an autograph copy. So that's pretty cool. I'll take it. And I actually just finished reading this a couple days ago. I started it once I was done with the Goldfinch, and it took me a couple days to read. So expect to see a review video coming up sometime soon. Okay. Next up is The Martian by Andy Weir, which I am currently reading. I started this after Yes Please. I was looking online. It was on my Facebook page. Somebody posted a thing about the 5 most anticipated movies that are based on books coming out in 2015-16, and this was on the list. Apparently, it's going to be directed by Ridley Scott. It's sci-fi. The basic premise is there's this guy, Mark Watney. He's on an exploration to Mars. One of the first manned missions to Mars, and he gets stranded. There's an accident. The entire mission is scrapped. Everyone evacuates, and something happens. He gets knocked over, knocked away, and he's presumed killed. So they leave him behind. Meanwhile, he's still alive, very much so. So I started reading this right after I finished Yes Please. Almost halfway done, and I'm honestly loving this so much. I'm honestly tempted once I'm done to go out and grab the hardcover, because this is a book I just love. One, physically it's a beautiful, that's a really cool dust jacket, really cool photo, but the premise is great. Of course it's nothing new. There's so many tales of people being stranded, but it's very unique. Weir is brilliant. He's scientific. He knows what he's talking about. He's obviously done his research. It reminds me a lot of Jules Verne's stuff, sci-fi, but heavily scientific, very specific stuff. It reminds me a lot of that, which is very close to me, being such a huge fan of Verne. So yeah, I really can't wait to finish this and see what happens, because it's very engaging so far, and I honestly love it. It's so good. There are a couple other books on that list of movies coming out that I want to check out, but nothing I could find at Barnes & Noble that day. I think one was called High Rise, and it was written by the same person who wrote Crash, but couldn't find it. Sounded interesting. Okay. These next couple are all the ones that I picked up at my second-hand shop. So I got 4 books. I think I got them for less than $9. So the first one is The Deep by Peter Benchley. As you can probably tell, I'm a huge fan of Jaws, the film, and the book. It's been a while since I've read the book. I read it a couple years ago, but I did like it. They're different from each other, but they're each really great and amazing. They each have their own merits. Jaws, the book, gets a little more in-depth with characters' backstories, a little more character growth. Plot's somewhat different. I think the shark kills more people in the book. But yeah, and I always wanted to read more from Benchley. The thing is that I want to say he's written at least 2 other books about shark attacks other than Jaws, so I think he kind of, followed the same footsteps. This one's slightly different. The Deep is about an undersea exploration team discovering something in the deep, the deepest parts of the ocean. So yeah, interesting. Um, it was also turned into a movie, I think, in the late 70s with Ed Harris and Robert Shaw, who was in Jaws. So yeah, this is something I've kind of been on the lookout for, but haven't really seen in any bookstores, so finding a little secondhand copy is pretty cool. Then I have from F. Scott Fitzgerald, Tender is the Night. This is one of his books I've been looking for a while. The Great Gatsby is one of my favorite books of all time. I did read This Side of Paradise a long time ago. I think I read that actually before I read The Great Gatsby. It must have been my freshman or sophomore year in high school, so I don't think I appreciated it much. That's something I want to reread. But this is one I keep hearing a lot about, more so than This Side of Paradise. So, excited to see what it's about. Okay. Next up, Mystic River by Dennis Lehane. I read Shutter Island last summer, and I'm also a big fan of the movie, so he wrote both. And this seems to be one of his other most hailed books. I know he's written a lot of them, so just kind of picked it up on a whim. See where it goes. Okay, next up, The Fall by Albert Camus. I honestly can't say why exactly I picked this up. I was in the secondhand shop and I was looking at the classic section, and nothing was really standing out to me, nothing I hadn't already read or already have, But for some reason, Camus's name stuck out to me. I don't know if I've heard him mentioned somewhere, or maybe I read somebody else talking about him. So I guess I kind of just picked it up because it was so cheap, and I guess to say I've read something from Camus. So who knows? I honestly have zero expectations of this book. So, oh well. And on the subject of classics, from Barnes & Noble, I got Swanns Way, the first book in Marcel Proust's epic series, In Search of Lost Time. 7 or 8 volume series. One of the biggest... 6? I thought it was 7. I guess this is 6 volumes, this particular printing. Yeah. Again, no real knowledge. The series was sort of mentioned towards the end of the Goldfinch. Hobie brings it up in a kind of random way. So it is considered one of those great classics that people should read. So I kind of picked it up. I know it was written a while ago, but at first glance, just skimming of it, it doesn't look too complicated, too difficult. I mean, maybe it's too good to be true. Maybe it's just this translation. But yeah, who knows? I might actually become really interested and involved with it and read the whole thing. And I'm trying to avoid really huge novels, but at least this one's split into a couple books that I can, read at separate intervals and go at my own pace. Next up, Horns by Joe Hill. This was made into a movie, I think, last year, with Dan Radcliffe as the lead, so I know that was kind of a big deal. And I guess that's kind of why I picked it up. I've heard a couple other people I know, a couple other book tumblers mention it, and everyone seems to like it, so I figured it was worth checking out. And then I didn't realize, I was just reading the back cover, and Joe Hill is the author of Lock and Key, which is a comic book series I've heard a lot of things about, a lot of good things. So that kind of gives me a good feeling about it. Lock and Key I have been meaning to get into. I've heard it mentioned a lot, nothing but good things. And then, I guess last but not least, The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I really was such a huge fan of The Goldfinch. I went to go see what else she's written. She's only written 3 books total, and this was her first. And I don't know if it won any major awards. I know, like The Goldfinch, which won the Pulitzer Prize. But everyone seems to say that this is a great book. It's sort of been described as a inverted whodunit, where you know who done it, but you don't know why they done it. So yeah, sounded interesting to me. She does have another book out, but just skimming at the synopsis, didn't sound like anything I was really interested in. But who knows? If I love this as much as I love The Goldfinch, maybe I'll go out and check it down. Okay, so yeah. that's everything I picked up the last couple weeks from Barnes & Noble. Not really planning on grabbing anything anytime soon unless there's a new book coming out. I know Neil Gaiman has Trigger Warning, but I'm not really rushing for it. I know it doesn't come out for a month or so, I think, or maybe the beginning of March. But other than that, I'm not really planning on anything. Like I said, I am almost halfway through with The Martian, and after that, I'm not exactly sure which book I'll skip to. If you guys have any recommendations on any of these, let me know. Maybe that'll influence my decision. And yeah, if you have any questions, comments, let me know. Leave a comment, and the usual. Like, subscribe, check out the blog, myprivatelibrary.tumblr.com. I'm posting new stuff every day. See you there. Thanks.